If there was like a nostalgia doctor, I would be receiving monthly checkups. I hate this spread. Hello and happy freaking February. I can't believe January is already over. I feel like January went by so fast for me because I was just in a constant state of filming, editing, journaling. If you've been following me on Instagram, you may know that I just wrapped up my 30 days of journal spread series where every day, pretty much for the entire month of January, I was posting a new journal spread idea for you to try in your journals this year. If you've been looking to get back into journaling, you're looking to pick it up as a hobby, whatever it is, I got you. And this is my second attempt at filming this video because I filmed it all the way through, and as I was editing it, I realized that I hated it. So here we are again. This video is going to be split into 3 parts: the recap, the rejects, that sounds really harsh, but it flows, and the reflection. And the recap is going to kind of be like a journal flip through. I'm going to go through all the pages that I made for my 30-day series, and then we're going to go into the rejects, which are the ideas or the spreads that didn't make it into the series, but I still think that they're really great and deserve some recognition. That's why I think I need to come up with a better name than rejects, because that just sounds kind of harsh. And then we'll get into the reflection, which is, well, a reflection. The purpose of this video is to just give you some inspiration for your journals this year and to just do a full-on recap for those of you that don't want to watch 30 videos on my Instagram page. So let's start with the recap. Here is the beloved journal in all of her glory. Look at how thick she is, barely a month into the year. So we're gonna flip her open. Come on. Ah, there we go. This is the intro page. Love her, am obsessed with her. All right. I just had 2025 reflection questions, and I answer the same 8 reflection questions at the beginning of every single year. Provide some consistency and something for me to look back on and compare my answers to. And it just covers all my goals, things that I want to improve, things I'm looking forward to in the coming year. You get it. Then I have the letter to my future self, which is right here. So at the end of every year, I wrote a letter to my future self, and this future self opens this letter on New Year's Eve of the following year. Does that make sense? Did I make sense when what I just said? So essentially 2025 me wrote this letter, and then 2026 me is gonna read it. I think it's just a really great way to connect with yourself and see how far you've come. And honestly, it just never not makes me cry. I always get emotional. Like, I know how to get myself to tear up. It can just be really cathartic too. All right, next, no pun intended, my favorite page, and this is my favorites. This covers the basics like my favorite food, favorite dessert, favorite TV show, blah, blah, blah. So I also sprinkled in some fun ones just to make it interesting. So we have some pretty unique ones in here, like my favorite fragrance, favorite local restaurant, favorite pair of shoes, my favorite coffee shop, favorite coffee order. Love this spread. Okay, next page we have the bucket list. Pretty straightforward. I won't really go into too much detail about this, but it's a bucket list for everything that I want to try to do this year. If you see me looking off to the side here, it's because I have all of my notes and my outline. First time that I filmed this, it was kind of all over the place and it was too messy for me to edit. So now that I have like a structure, I'm intent on following that structure. Anyways, back to the journal. Then I have a 2025 music record. This one was actually a pretty well-loved one. I feel like it was for good reason. This music record is supposed to replace my Spotify Wrapped because I don't believe that Spotify accurately represents my music taste very well. Like, yeah, okay, algorithm wise, it's like, it's got all the numbers and the data, but it's not representative of how diverse my music taste is overall, not just in that year. So this spread includes my top 5 favorite songs, my favorite album that was released in the past year, and my favorite 2025 album release was Ego Death at a Bachelor Party by Hayley Williams. Then I have my top 5 favorite artists, top 3 favorite albums, and you can also do like no skip albums because those are 2 very different things in my opinion. And if you are an avid festival goer like myself, I also took it upon myself to write about my favorite festival that I attended that year. Mine was Lollapalooza in Chicago, and I also wrote my top 5 favorite sets from that festival, as well as a festival overview. So I wrote all the festivals that I attended last year and all of my favorite sets that I saw, not including the ones from Lollapalooza. But if you're not a festival person, then you can write about concerts or just like little shows that you went to. Doesn't have to be a festival. Next. Oh God. Please. Okay. My 25 pics of 2025, kind of self-explanatory. It's just 25 pictures that summed up the year of 2025. And I chose the pictures just by doing like 2 to 3 photos a month and just taking you through like a visual timeline of the year. So if you don't want to wait at the end of the year to do this, you can also make this into like a monthly affair. Personally, I am so lazy. 1 picture every day for an entire month seems like my literal nightmare. Obsessed with the idea, but realistically, no, I'm not going to get around to that. But But if you have like a hobonichi, I know that that's like a really big thing that people do where they do like a picture every day of the month and it looks really, really awesome. But I've never owned a hobonichi because I'm overall, the one pick a month idea sounds great in theory, just not in practice for myself personally. All right, next, my New Year's Eve recap. Pretty straightforward. This is literally a recap of New Year's Eve. What I did, what I wore, who was there, my favorite memory of the night. I went to a festival. That was my recap. Also, to lift my spirits from the fact that I'm filming this for a second time, I had to break out my special mug. Is she just not perfect? I love this mug. It's from Popu Siren. The artist name is Shiori. Obsessed with this mug. Ugh. All right, now we have my first kind of, that would be a lie. I was gonna say my first reflection prompt of the series, but it's just not true because I literally started with a reflection prompt. And it's asking the question, what is a year you would like to relive without changing anything about it? This was one of the very few reflection prompts that I included in my 30-day series, mostly because I have a problem with being too vulnerable on the internet. So something you will come to know about me is that I am an incredibly nostalgic person, almost to a point where it's unhealthy. Oh gosh, the amount of times I think about my life as a child or as a teenager, or even when I was in college, it's like disgusting how much it consumes me. So it should come as no surprise that I wrote a year I would like to relive is 2021 because I was a 21-year-old living in New York City. I was a college student, incredibly chaotic. She just holds such a special place in my life and I think about her all the time. If there was like a nostalgia doctor, I would be receiving monthly checkups. Okay, next. Oh god. This was a 2025 review, but it was written like a film critic. I wrote this from like a third person POV, recapping the plot, aka my entire year. And then I rated it out of 5 stars. I gave it 4 stars for some reason, which I don't feel is accurate now. Looking back on it, I don't think 2025 was a 4 out of 5 star year. Regardless, I also gave my film a little title and described the protagonist, which is myself. And I also highlighted 2 standout performances, which are 2 people that played a huge significant role in my life that year. It was my best friend and my boyfriend that I met last year. Next, this was a really popular one, which is the sticker graveyard. I am a huge fan of this one because I have a lot of die cut stickers and a lot of singular stickers that take up a lot of space in my stationery storage, and I didn't really have a place to put them. So what I did was I attached a few pieces of wax paper in here. I do suggest using parchment paper if you have it, because sometimes the wax from the paper can stick to the sticker and it's just not ideal, and parchment paper is so much better. And I just stuck all of my stickers onto them. So I have a place in my journal, and if I ever decide that I want to use some of them, I still can, but chances are I probably won't use a lot of these. Now we have the what's in my bag. I just illustrated all of the things that I keep inside of my purse, but because I have so much shit in my purse, I didn't include everything that's really inside of my bag. I hate this spread. Did not like it, but I was like, you know what? I have to post it, and not every spread's gonna be great. Yeah, this one was not one of my favorites. On the brighter side, one that I actually did like, and it's the hobby board. I never make vision boards, not because I have anything against them, I'm just really lazy, so I've never made one. But this felt doable because it's specific. Almost is a hobby / craft board. If you have a lot of hobbies and a lot of interests and a lot of crafts that you want to try, like myself, putting this page together is very, very, very ideal for you. And I get very overwhelmed with how many hobbies I have and how many projects I want to try. So this just makes it more digestible. Okay, next one was also a slightly lazy one of me. So this is just a simple things that make me happy, pretty self-explanatory. Some honorable mentions from this page of things that make me happy. Espresso tonics. If you drink espresso tonics, you deserve some recognition because a lot of people think they're nasty, and I think that you just don't get it. And the ones that get it, they get it. Next, I have picnics with my friends. God, I love a picnic. Just one of the best things that you can do as a person. And obviously, I have cute stickers on here because nothing quite brings me as much joy as finding a pack of really cute stickers. Next, we have the 2026 bingo card because everybody was doing bingo cards and I was like, you know what? I want to make one. I want to get in on that. And I did. This was like a really huge trend this year too, which I thought was pretty awesome. I already know for a fact I'm not going to do some of these, but it's nice in theory. One of them being I want to do 2 pull-ups. I can like barely do one, but I feel like because I've been eating more, it's been harder for me to actually pull myself up. So I can do like half of a pull-up now. I used to do one confidently and now I'm like struggling to even get up there. So 2 is kind of a lot, but anyways, that's my bingo card. Now we have the 2025 food wrapped, which is similar to a Spotify wrapped, but for all the food that you ate last year. You can also turn this into a monthly type of spread where you just recap things that you ate throughout the month. I just kind of put like my top 5 favorite restaurants, meals and recipes that I cooked at home, as well as I think my most frequented food places and favorite coffee orders or coffee shops that I visited a lot. All right, next page we have the icon/doodle dump. This page specifically is for all my doodle bobs. I am a chronic doodler, so it's great that I just kind of have like a space in my journal dedicated to doodling. The uneven boxes kind of like drive me up a wall, but someone commented on my video saying that life is like full of uneven boxes. Really just stuck with me. So I'm warming up to them. So shout out to that person because you just changed my brain chemistry in a way. All right, next, my perfect day. I love this spread not because of the way that it looks, but more so just like the contents of it, detailing what my perfect day looks like from the moment I wake up to the moment that I go to bed. I do this spread pretty much every year. I'm doing the same things in my perfect day every single year, which usually consists of me like getting coffee, going on a picnic with my friends, and then hosting some kind of like gathering at the end of the day. That's just how I know it's a perfect day, truly. Now we have a fancy one. Okay, this is the 2025 It's 2026. 2026 advent calendar. I have never owned an advent calendar, never bought one, even though I've been tempted, but capitalism comes for us all, am I right? I decided to just make my own. I made this advent calendar specifically for my birthday month. It's only 14 days leading up to my birthday. I get to have a little treat. Don't know how else to say it. So a lot of the things inside of these cards, papers, boxes are just things that I get to treat myself to. So it can be like a pack of stickers, a coffee, some self-care. Not everything is like of monetary value, but just things that I feel I get to treat myself to. My vocabulary is very limited, so I will be repeating a lot of the same words over and over again, and you're just gonna have to bear with me. All right, now we have the creator tribute. I love when I see something from another creator or an artist that just so deeply resonates with me. It makes me think that they're like inside of my brain. That's just one of the best feelings ever when you see something that just speaks to you so deeply. So I compiled a lot of posts or art pieces that made me feel that way, and it just made me feel so seen. Art is awesome. Now this next one. I am an air sign, so therefore I love to shop. I'm not proud of that. Regardless, this is my doodle wish list that I make every few months or so. Just a list of things that I want or that I feel this urge to buy, but I just draw it instead of actually buying it, because a lot of the things that I have on here, like a KitchenAid stand mixer, a new laptop, fragrances, they're just things that I don't really have the money for right now. So it kind of just curbs the desire that I have to purchase these things. And you know what? It works. Now we have a kind of semi-straightforward one, which is my personality fragrance. I split this up into 3 parts, like a normal fragrance would be. Top notes, middle notes, base notes. How you differentiate them is up to you. I don't really know how I split them up, but it looks cool. Okay, now we have my I Spy bingo. 2026 is really going to be the year of bingo. We're bringing bingo back. This particular page is a bingo card filled of things that I would be able to observe in the wild, and I take my journal with me everywhere. So the next time that I'm out and about in public, or if I'm at a coffee shop, instead of staring at my phone, I'm just gonna observe my environment, give it a little scan, and if I see something that I wrote on my bingo card, I get to cross it off. Oh, I actually saw this the other day. Give me a second. Oh, God. Tulips. I went to Costco and I saw that they had tulips. Bunch of random things that I have on here. I have a rainbow, red shoes, blue tape. Like, girl, you can write literally whatever you want on here. Next page. Okay, next is the last meal. This was inspired by the Mythical Kitchen series on YouTube. And I think about my last meal a lot, particularly when I eat something that I'm like, whoa, this is last meal worthy. Like, it's that good. But I also have a really hard time with making decisions, so I let myself pick 5 different dishes and 2 different beverages that I would want to include in my imaginary last meal. Okay, now we have another lazy one by me, which is the things to quit list. just going into this year, I realized that there are a lot of bad habits that I kind of have that I want to break free of. So this was a way for me to externalize what those habits are and visualize them so that I can be more mindful when they come up. And one of those things was having a very, very, very poor relationship with work, or just not having a great work-life balance. I have this tendency to think that rest needs to be earned. I'd like to just be able to let myself take breaks more often and not feel bad about it. The next page is the achievement cake. I really liked this one too. I didn't make journal spread prior to this dedicated to things that I achieved or things that I was proud of from last year. So this kind of fulfills that purpose. And achievement cakes were also a really big trend, I feel, at the end of 2025. So on each of the candles, I wrote an achievement or something that I did that I was very proud of in 2025. You don't have to wait until the end of the year to do this. It can also be something that you want to achieve this year, or noting things that you achieve as the year progresses, so you're not left doing it all at once at the end of 2026. Or it can also just be like small wins or like little things you want to celebrate more. Up to you. Then we have the little reminders page. I really like this one because of the little envelopes that I made, and if you want to know how I made the little envelopes, I have a tutorial on my Instagram. But this spread is a great reminder for myself that feelings come and go. They're always fluctuating. So if I'm feeling really down about something, or I'm just feeling not confident, or I'm feeling doubtful, I can just open up one of my little envelopes and read a little note that I wrote to myself. And one thing about me is that I love small things, and I love handwritten notes, even if they are from myself. So it just makes the overall experience of reading them even more personal and sentimental. And now we have the self-care jar. This is a pretty straightforward one. I literally just made a jar out of some paper and clear packing tape, and I filled it with some self-care ideas for when I need some rest and relaxation in the future. It's not the most practical spread, I admit, but it's whimsical and fun, which I feel like is just as important. All right, coming up on the last couple of spreads from this series, nostalgia bug incoming, the tribute to my younger self spread. Now, this one is high up on the list of favorite spreads that I've made. It is just a bunch of pictures and collages of things that I loved as a child and as a teenager. And we have some like serious throwbacks on here, you guys. Webkins, Club Penguins, Hello Kitty, putty erasers that they used to sell in the Sanrio store. They're just like plastic cases that had 2 squares of like scented putty, but they were erasers. I never used them as the erasers because that means I would have to ruin the perfect square that they came in. Also, I'm like 8 years old and I'm hyper focused on the shape of them and not wanting to ruin it. So they just sat like in my pencil case or like in my room as decoration. Like I didn't use them for anything, but every single time I would see a new one, I would like freak out and I would have to get it. God, I miss being a kid. Like if you are the kind of person that would feel something from those freaking TikTok carousels, that would be like POV, you're a kid in the 90s or the early 2000s, and it has that really like eerie music playing in the background, and it's just pictures of computer labs, that freaking rainbow parachute thing. But anyways, if you're that kind of person that gets the same reaction as me, then this spread idea is for you. I also have silly bands on here. Did I have a problem? Did I have an obsession? Yeah, absolutely. Last spread of the series is the self-portrait. I'm not the best artist, so I thought that this would be a really great way for me to find ways of expressing myself beyond my physical appearance. So you can do like quotes, anything that you feel sums up who you are, and you don't even have to draw yourself. That's the best part about this, I think. Like self-portraits do not have to be about your physical art capability. So you really just have a lot of creative freedom with this spread, which I think is great. Okay, we've reached the end of the journal spread series. So now we're going to move on to the rejects, aka the prompts that didn't make it into the series, but I still feel deserve some love. First prompt from the rejects was creating your dream festival lineup. So if you're not a music festival person, then maybe this one isn't for you, but I still think it's fun to like plan or to think about in theory. So you get to decide on headliners, how many days it is, name of the festival, who's gonna be playing, what the vibe of the festival is. Like, is it a Coachella? Is it like a Lollapalooza? Or is it like an EDC? Or is it like a Vans Warped Tour? You know, you just get to decide. A lot of freedom with this. I think my mind went a little bit too wild, which is why I didn't include this in my series. It was just too hard for me to organize. Okay, next we have the perfect movie night, and this is also pretty straightforward, but I envisioned the setup to be almost like a party invitation because I used to love sleepovers as a kid and just having like, oh, we're gonna watch all these movies and wear cute pajamas and like do our nails. This is kind of like an ode to that. So you can choose what's the movie lineup, how many films you're gonna watch, what films they're gonna be, what the dress code is. Like, are we wearing matching pajama sets? Are we just gonna wear some sweatpants and a hoodie? Like, It's up to you. And you can also think about like the drinks and the snacks, like what we're gonna be eating. Or is there gonna be any special drinks on the menu? Or is it just gonna be like Diet Cokes? You get to pick. And like, is this taking place anywhere special? Or is it just gonna be like you and your laptop in your room? You got it. The next prompt from the rejects was the education dump. I didn't include this in the series because I kind of already have like a separate journal that I keep this page in, but I still think it is a very great idea. And in a world where misinformation is so prevalent and it's hard to really tell what's real and what's not, especially with the inclusion of AI in our society. Don't even get me started. I think it's just more important now than ever to be informed and to be educated and to be knowledgeable. Regardless, this education dump, write topics you want to be more educated about, or making like a physical note for you to research certain topics in your free time. Or you can also just write about things that you learned about recently and to just have like a space dedicated to expanding your knowledge and education. The next couple of prompts are kind of reflection based. So this one was a very sentimental one to me, and because again, nostalgia bug. But imagine there's a house, and inside of this house there is every single version of you that has ever lived. And the question is, what is everyone up to? Now, I'm 26, and the thought of writing down 26 versions of myself was kind of daunting. So maybe you can select like different ages that were significant to you and write about what those individuals are doing. Like the 24-year-old me would be crying about entering her quarter life crisis and like not really knowing what she's doing with her life. The 21-year-old me would probably be dyeing my hair a crazy color with bleach at home, very dangerous. And like the 10-year-old me would be fantasizing about Justin Bieber and like hanging up J14 posters in my room. You know? Okay, following prompt from the rejects is discussing society's trajectory. This reflection is more based around what worries you and what also gives you hope. So you can start off with talking about what society looks like right now. And this is almost like a historical record when you think about it, which I think is pretty cool. From my perspective, things that worry me, obviously this administration. I'm also concerned about the takeover of AI and how it's affecting our environment and also our like cognitive ability to process information or even to just do things for ourselves, particularly for the younger generations. I feel like it's very concerning for me. But on the flip side, something that gives me hope is that there are a lot of people in my generation and in the younger generations that are like pushing back and that are willing to mobilize and organize to just make the world a better place. Like all hope is never lost because there are always going to be people that are holding our elected officials accountable and staying politically and socially aware and active. And if you're not one of those people, then I very much encourage you to be one of them. All right, next, the MBTI breakdown. I don't care if you think that MBTIs are fake, because let me tell you, I recently took the MBTI test again, and I take this like every couple years or so, and I have been an ISFJ for my pretty much my entire adulthood. But there were always things that I was like, I don't particularly resonate with this part of myself, so I'm like, yeah, MBTIs are kind of just like whatever. And then I retook it and I got an INFJ, and I'm gonna say this now, that was the most accurate that I've ever read in my entire life. I didn't disagree with a single point that was made. And I understand the circumstances of why people think that this isn't real. It's kind of like astrology. It's the same belief system that people hold it to. But can you guys just like have some fun? I think it's awesome. But anyways, if you are interested in doing the MBTI breakdown, you can go to the 16 Personalities website and take it on there, and then they give you an entire overview of your personality type, which is like really fun because you get to read about your personality, and then you can also just write about your career path, your relationships and how you navigate them, what your strengths and your weaknesses are. I don't know. It just could be fun. And then the last prompt that we have for the rejects is, what is one thing that happened to you recently that you would like to remember in 10 years? I have to think about this more deeply, honestly. I don't think I have like a straight out answer for it, but it's still a really great prompt nonetheless. And I feel like this leans more on the positive side of reflecting, which is great. Okay, team, we've reached the reflection portion of the video. I just want to leave you with a few own personal thoughts on journaling. And this is coming from someone that struggled with journaling and consistently journaling for years. I could not get into it. Like, I used to think that journaling was a tool that you only used when you were experiencing a hard time in your life. Like, that was its sole purpose, was to kind of dig you out of that. It's true, like it can be used for that, but it's not the sole purpose. So when I was younger, I would have such an aversion to journaling because I would think that I would have to be in such a detrimental place of my life in order to utilize it properly, which I have now come to realize is not true. So I hope that this video and even my 30-day series showed you that journaling can be used for so much more than that. And I often receive a lot of comments on my journal spread videos from people who are like, my pages don't look anything like yours, so that must mean I'm doing something wrong. And I want to leave you with this. There is no right or wrong way to journal. I was stuck in thinking that for so long, which is why I struggled so much to do it. It was because I thought that I was doing something wrong. Your journal is supposed to be your safe space, and in some cases, it really should just be for your eyes only. And I have journals that don't look pretty and that don't look aesthetically pleasing, and that's just the reality of it. Not every journal spread is supposed to be beautiful and content worthy. The goal of journaling is to just be expressive and to exercise your creativity, and it's not to be perfect or to compare your pages to whatever you see online. Once you take the expectations out of it, journaling just becomes so much more freeing and so much more enjoyable, which is what I think it should be about. If you saw my series on Instagram, I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you didn't, well, cool. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful to those of you who are looking to start your journaling journey. I just hope that I was able to offer you some new journaling ideas or some inspo. Thank you so much for watching. Happy journaling, and I will see you guys in the next one.